Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 MyTeam career mode. This is part 37 on the streets of Azerbaijan for the next sprint race weekend. If you did miss the last episode, it was actually a really good episode. It was a win for ourselves in Austria. We took a last lap overtake to take the victory away from Carlos Sainz, and he was actually a bit controversial under safety car. He overtook us under the safety car in the sprint race, sorry, and that essentially gave him P2 in that sprint race. As now we take a look here at the performance charts. So Aston Martin remain the fastest car on the grid at the moment. But you'll notice here, from Red Bull all the way down to ourselves there, so that's Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and ourselves, it is next to no difference. So it is all going to be very close between us this weekend around these streets of the iconic Baku city circuit. So definitely looking forward to this one as we now get ourselves ready to go out for our practice session, and a very important practice session. If you remember last season's episode, it was a bit of mixed conditions, so definitely need to get some laps in to make sure you know the way the circuit's going to be going and just get used to this. Is very much like Monaco. It's just confidence circuit. Once you got good confidence around here, you'll find the pace. So definitely trying to be making sure to cut some laps around here, and immediately we're on the pace for our practice program here for the race data. And now going on to some average tyre wear analysis. You'll see here going through the first half of the lap, where it's in more of the 90-degree stuff. That's where the tyres aren't really copying too much, and then we're really able to save it through all the flowing sections. And as we go purple in this program, we run quite a bit wide actually, so got a bit distracted there from what my race engineer was telling me there, and so ended up running a little bit wide at the end of the main straight. Now we jump here to our qualifying program here. You'll see we are struggling quite a lot in qualifying trim. We are 2 seconds down, and it was just an absolute shocking run on that lap. As now the end of the session has arrived, and we'll take a look here at the top three. So it was Oscar Piastri, Liam Lawson, then ourselves in P3. We're quite a bit off the pace, and Alex Albon down in P21, but he's on the hard tyre, so hopefully once he gets onto a faster tyre, he'll be a bit more towards the mid-pack, as now we get ourselves prepped for qualifying here. Remember, it is a sprint round, so qualifying has been moved forward into the weekend. So that one practice session, and now straight into trying to get ourselves towards the front of the grid. And now coming to the end of our first flying lap here, 2 green sectors, and now going on to this very long main straight where the last 2 corners are essentially flat out. As now Lando Norris sets the pace very early on into this session. We hug the wall to try and get to the line as quickly as possible, and that's put ourselves P6 for the moment. As now we've actually tagged the inside wall going through there, and that's put us offline. We've tagged a heap of curb, and going on to our second flying lap, we have spun. So I pretty much did a Nick De Vries there and tagging the inside wall, as now Alex Albon was actually fastest here in qualifying 1, ahead of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, the 2 McLarens. Have not been able to out-qualify our teammate Alex Albon, ourselves in at P11 there. As now we head ourselves into qualifying 2 now, and once again 2 more green sectors. We're currently sitting P11 as we come to the end of our first flying lap in this second qualifying section. We smash the DRS button to make sure we get it open as quickly as possible, hug that inside wall, and at the moment we're P8, so definitely not a very good lap on those worn tyres that we used in qualifying 1. Now onto the fresh tyres to try and get ourselves one final flying lap here. As you can see here, the fresh tyres have made all the difference, 1.3 seconds up on our previous lap time, and where is that going to put us? P3 behind the 2 McLarens. So at the end of this session, it's going to be Lando Norris ahead of Oscar Piastri, McLaren 1-2, ourselves in P3, and our teammate in P5 there, looking very speedy indeed. So that is 2 Brabhams now into qualifying 3, so definitely need to try and make the rest of this all worth it. It's now, this run here is going to be on a set of already worn tyres, not a set of new tyres yet, as we actually lock up and we smash the wall in the final sector. So and those worn tyres were probably at the end of their life as we hit the brakes there. I did nip the outside curb there, which did cause a bit of a lock-up, but it still should have probably unlocked itself. We could have made the corner still, but very unfortunate. Anyways, we've had to put on the fresh set of rubber. We've only just managed to get it back out on track in time. And that is now going to put us P10 on this first flying lap. We've got just enough time, actually, in the end, to go out for another flying lap on this set of new tyres. At the moment, we're only about a 10th up, so is that going to be any improvement to try and get ourselves outside of 10th position? No, it looks like we're staying P10, as Alex Albon has taken pole position here in Baku. So absolutely brilliant performance from our teammate ahead of Sergio Perez and Oscar Piastri. Ourselves couldn't quite get the job done. We were nearly a full second off.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Alex Albon leads us away from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Leclerc, Ocon, Russell, Norris, Hulkenberg, the Rainmaster, Verstappen, Stroll, Sainz, Liam Lawson, Tsunoda, Bottas, Joe, Magnussen, Iwasa, Sargent, Drugovich, and Nick de Vries. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. And with me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson.
Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson.
Let's discuss Haas. We have a number of changes to the aerodynamic regulations this year, and the signs haven't looked good for them so far in terms of getting to grips with those changes.
There are a few downcast looks within the team this weekend. I think they've been hit fairly hard by the new regs. But this is only the first step down a long road of development, and even if they don't maximise their points today, there are plenty more up for grabs this season.
And now here we are for the sprint race. We are lining up in P10, our teammate on pole position, so definitely hoping he can try and stay at the front for this entire sprint race here. Going for something a little bit different, going for the soft tie here, trying to see if maybe, just maybe, we could get some early positions here and then just try and defend. I reckon that might be the way to go. I don't think we've got really the pace on the medium tyres. If you remember from practice, we didn't do too well on those mediums. We had good race pace, but this is a sprint, so I don't think the mediums will go too well for us here. As now the lights are out. It is 5 lights. And we're off for the sprint race here in Azerbaijan. It's a alright start. Looks like Ocon hasn't had a great start, so he's holding up everyone. We've locked up the fronts and made a little bit of contact to the rear end of Lando Norris, and there is the warning from the FIA about that collision. And now we've kind of been hung out awkwardly on the outside here, so boxed in by Nico Hulkenberg, and that's led Max Verstappen to try and go up our inside, but he couldn't quite get it done. So now we've tucked ourselves into the slipstream of Lando Norris. But here is ourselves trying to go for a move, but in the end Max Verstappen's going to go and try and get us on the outside. We give him the squeeze going to turn 3, and so that is going to be that move denied. As we now come to the end of the first lap, we're going down this really long back straight, and Max Verstappen is going to go breezing by us in that much faster Red Bull car at the moment. And now as Mark is actually just trying to keep us positive here by telling us to try and stay with him, but I'm not sure if that's going to be possible today. As we now take a look here of Lando Norris and going for an overtake here on one of the Aston Martins, that is. And it ends up being a very clean move around the outside to get himself that little bit further up the field here now. This is Lando Norris making his way further up the field now. This is him trying to get past the likes of Charles Leclerc, the Ferrari, and he's going to get the move done pretty easily in the end into turn 1. He's going to give him a little bit of a squeeze, but actually Leclerc's going to stay around the outside of him. Is Leclerc going to be able to maintain position here in P7? They continue to go side by side, and that's kind of ruined Norris's exit. And so now here comes Nico Hulkenberg. He could really possibly actually get Lando Norris back here, and he's actually going to swing out. And is he going to look for the move on Charles Leclerc? No, he's not, but he has managed to get himself back past Lando Norris, as now we do a bit of an order check here. So it's going to be Sergio Perez leading the way from our teammate Alex Albon, and then Oscar Piastri in 3rd place. So that's your top 3 for the sprint race at the moment. That's Gasly, the 2 Mercedes of Russell and Ocon, Leclerc, and Nico Hulkenberg rounds out the points in the sprint race. And then Norris and Verstappen round out the top 10. Ourselves in P11. We're currently trying to defend from Yuki Tsunoda. He's going to try and go around the outside of us here in that little bit of a double right-hander before we go into the castle section, but we're going to maintain position. And so it is going to be ourselves from Tsunoda, then Carlos Sainz, Stroll, Bottas, the two Hasses of Magnussen and Lawson, and then Iwasa in P18, Joe, Sargent, Drugovic, and then it's going to be Nick DeVries in P22. So not a great start for the AlphaTauri of Nick DeVries, as now Norris is re-overtaking Nico Hulkenberg once again, and Leclerc has actually pretty much just checked out of this battle. And we're just going to be putting the battle between Lando and Hulkenberg down into the corner, because we've caught up to the likes of Sainz and Tsunoda. They're battling really hard at the moment, so we're going to be trying to see if we can't take advantage of anything here. They're still going side by side, so we've gone for a little bit of a narrower exit to try and get ourselves a better run going down the back straight, but it doesn't seem to have worked as much as I hoped. If we've managed to get past Tsunoda, are we going to be able to get past Sainz as well? No, we can't. He's just slightly outbraked ourselves there, so haven't been able to get past him quite yet, but Lando Norris has managed to maintain his position ahead of Nico Hulkenberg at the moment. Now George Russell here is trying to get himself past Pierre Gasly, who's been putting that Alpine in places that Alpine should not be so far this weekend, so he's been doing a brilliant job, as now Hulkenberg gets all crossed up trying to tuck out of the slipstream from Lando Norris. And is he going to be able to get this move done? And the answer is that yes, as we have now just been re-overtaken by Yuki Tsunoda. So definitely going to be looking to try and get ourselves back past the likes of Yuki Tsunoda. But we now have Stroll all over the rear of us. So now we're going to, with the power DRS, hopefully pull away from the Sauber there. That's tucked up right behind us and get ourselves back past Yuki Tsunoda. But we just can't quite get it done under the brakes, so we're going to go and try and go for a bit of a crossback. He's had a bit of a bad exit there, so we're going to try and send it back up the inside, tiny little bit of contact, but really nothing to be worried about, and that is us now back up into P12. Still trying to get ourselves back up into the points here. Now, looking here, this is going to be Oscar Piastri. Is he going to be able to get himself now up into P2? He's going to have to get past our teammate. There's a little bit of contact as they start to try and turn in. I reckon Piastri is going to be running wide, and our teammate just had to start turning at some point, and that's where the contact was made. Now, Charles Leclerc has got himself past Pierre Gasly here. So that he's now put himself up to P6. He got himself crossed up going onto the exit. So I wonder if there might be something there on the track, because that's two drivers in a very small span of time that have got themselves crossed up. As now for ourselves a little bit of contact with the wall on the exit there going into this final sector of the track. Yuki Tsunoda tried to send it up our inside, and Sergio Perez has crossed the line to claim victory here in the sprint race, but I reckon we should just about here maintain our P12 finish going down now the main straight. Is Yuki going to have any sort of hope here with the power of DRS? He's 3/10 back, and he's currently battling away with Bottas, so we're going to just hang on here to P12 in this sprint race. Definitely not the one that we were expecting to have. So the top three in the end was Sergio Perez, Oscar Piastri, and Alex Albon. Our teammate managed to get onto the sprint podium here in Azerbaijan. The rest of the points was George Russell, Ocon, Leclerc, Gasly, and Nico Hulkenberg, and then the rest of the top 10 was Verstappen and Norris, ourselves P12 in the end.
Good afternoon and welcome from Baku. This was the arena, if you think back to 2017, of one of the most eventful races of modern history, with controversy behind the safety car, last-second overtakes, and a historic podium for Williams and for Lance Stroll. Let's find out what lies in store for us this year. It's time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Baku City Circuit then. It's an unpredictable 3.7-mile track around the streets of the Azerbaijan capital. 20 turns for our drivers to navigate today, including the infamous Turn 8, one of the tightest and most challenging corners of the season. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Albon, Russell, Ocon, Leclerc, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Verstappen, Norris, Sainz, the Rainmaster, Tsunoda, Bottas, Stroll, Magnussen, Liam Lawson, Iwasa, Sargent, Drugovic, De Vries, and Zhou Guanyu. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, How do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Alrighty, let's see if we can't make anything happen here in this Grand Prix. We're going to be going for the medium tyre onto the hard tyre, a one-stop race here today in Baku. Our teammate there starting right up the front, so hopefully he can get himself a podium, just maybe a podium in this race. So definitely looking forward to see what he can do. But anyways, off onto our formation lap, try and get some temperature into these tyres and then get ourselves all parked up and very nicely in the end, in the lovely only 0.2 of a metre away from that white line in the end. So definitely trying to give ourselves the best opportunity here as now the lights start to illuminate. It's 5 lights and we are off in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's a shocking start from Lando Norris. We go for a very small gap up against the wall there to get ourselves past him. And now we're going to send it down the inside of the Aston Martin of Nico Hülkenberg as well. Max Verstappen's had pretty bad access, so can we get himself past him as well? He brakes a lot earlier than I was expecting, so kind of had to slam on the brakes ourselves. And kind of pinched us, so in the end, Nico Hülkenberg sorted himself past us as well. So we did gain some positions there, so but definitely not the amount I was hoping to get off of the start. And now, as we come to the end, we're about to get absolutely swamped here. So we've got Carlos Sainz on our right, Lando Norris going on our left, and he's giving us a tap going down the main straight, and he has spun us. And that is now going to be us dropping down to pretty much plumb last, as now we have to try and defend from Liam Lawson. So we've now all of a sudden found ourselves down in P18. So what has happened here? He's just turned into us. So that was a closing gap, and he's just absolutely put us. Luckily not into the wall, but yeah, Yuki Tsunoda there also very nearly clipping us. So he's lucky to not have an absolute monumental crash. As now Pierre Gasly is looking to get himself past our teammate Alex Albon to get himself up onto the podium. And it looks like Alex is not going to be making this easy. He's going to hang it around the outside. And now Pierre also now has to go around the outside to try and get the position. He does get the position of our teammate Alex Albon. And that has got him now into P3. Now, fast forwarding to the end of the lap though, Alex is now going to be coming back at Pierre to try and get himself back onto the podium. So absolutely wicked racing here from our teammate to try and make sure he remains on these podium positions at the moment. And now we do a bit of an order check here after the opening 3 laps of this Grand Prix. It's Piastri, Perez and Albon, the top 3 at the moment. And then it's Gasly, Ocon, Leclerc, Russell, Verstappen, Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz. He remains in the top 10 of this race so far. Then Lando Norris, Yuki Tsunoda, Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen, and then the 2 Williams of Iwasa and Dragovic, and then it's a Stroll ourselves in P18. We're still trying to get anything possible out of this Grand Prix. Then it's a Logan Sargent, Liam Lawson, Zhou Guanyu, and then Nick De Vries rounding out the back of the field at the moment in P22s. Now, Alex Albon, is he looking to get himself up into P2 now after possibly losing the podium? He is. He's just got himself past Sergio Perez now to get himself up into P2 of this Grand Prix, and while one Red Bull's making a move, losing a position, the other one's making a move. Max Verstappen around the outside of George Russell to get himself up into P7 of this Grand Prix. It's now back to our onboard here. We're being overtaken by Logan Sargent, so he is currently on the soft tyre, so hopefully soon that cross-tyre will start happening. But it is quite disappointing to see that now that we've been knocked further down the order, we're still getting overtaken, so our pace on these medium tyres is just nowhere to be seen at the moment. So even with the power of DRS, we're barely gaining on him down this main straight. But now, we are definitely gaining on him. So can we send a move? No, we can't. So we're going to have to hang it around the outside, actually, at turn 3. Are we going to be able to get the traction down and try and send it down into turn 4? We're going to have a look. A bit more contact, actually, than we did with Tsunoda in the last race. But a bit of contact, and we get ourselves through. So definitely not the ideal way to get the position back, as now Sergio Perez looking to get himself back past our teammate Alex Albon. But you'll notice that Oscar Piastri is absolutely checked out. He's nearly got a 4-second lead. As now Max Verstappen's also getting himself past Charles Leclerc. So Verstappen's on the move at the moment. He has to hang it around the outside though. A little bit of a squeeze, maybe a tiny little bit of contact there, but Leclerc's making it quite difficult for him to get this move done. As now Verstappen still has to hang it around the outside, and he's going to get the traction down, and that is now Max Verstappen up into P6. But here comes George Russell looking to get himself past Charles Leclerc as well, and he's going to try and make the move on Max Verstappen as well. Is he going to get the move done? He looks to the inside. At the moment, it looks like Max Verstappen is going to be able to stay ahead, and he does stay ahead, but George Russell nearly got 2 overtakes done then, and now this is George Russell we're looking at, losing a position to Charles Leclerc, so he didn't stay ahead for very long in the end at all. As now, at the same time that was Lando Norris getting himself past Carlos Sainz and actually continuing to battle with Carlos, as now we put this battle down into the corners when we focus ourselves onto our POV. We run wide and nearly collects Logan Sargent as we rejoin the track as we try to get past him, and now that's put us vulnerable here to Liam Lawson. He's going to look to the inside of turn 2. We're going to hang it around the outside, but we're going to get the better traction here and to maintain our position just for now. And back to this main battle here, it's George Russell on the inside of Nico Hülkenberg at turn 4. Hülkenberg around the outside though, he's going to keep the position here, as now Lando Norris once again is going to be trying to get himself past Carlos Sainz here. He's going to have to go around the outside at turn 1, but he's going to get the better traction here, and that should be the overtake done. He has to go a slightly bit defensive here to just try and make sure that Carlos Sainz doesn't make any extra moves here, but this has allowed Valtteri Bottas now to get himself into the fight here, to try and get himself into the points here. Could this be a double Alpine points finish here at this Grand Prix? He's going to send it down the inside of Carlos Sainz. Is that going to be the move done? No. It looks like he's going to have to try and finish it off, and going into the next corner around the outside at turn 4. Can he get the position done now? It looks like he has got it, and that is now 2 Alpines inside the top 10. As now do a bit of an order check here. So it's Oscar Piastri ahead of Sergio Perez and Alex Albon. So the podium unchanged at the moment. Pierre Gasly, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Valtteri Bottas now in P7 as the pit stop cycle is starting. Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, and Kevin Magnussen rounds out the points, and it's the 2 Williams of Wasser and Dragovic. And then it's Logan Sargent, Esteban Ocon, ourselves in P15. Again, only making up positions at the moment just based off the pit stops going on. Charles Leclerc behind us. Nico Hülkenberg, he's currently now battling it out with George Russell, who's going to come out on top here, but it's actually Russell that's going to end up getting past Nick De Vries. So it's De Vries behind Russell, then it's the 2 Saubers of Zhou and Stroll. Then Liam Lawson has actually had to come in for an extra pit stop here due to a little bit of damage, so he finds himself now P22 right back of the field. It's now back to our POV here. This is Charles Leclerc on fresher tyres. He's coming to the Pierce, and he's just going to breeze past us here, and it looks like actually Nico Hülkenberg's going to be a bit sneaky, and he's going to try and get the move done around the down the inside. So we're going to hang it around the outside, try and not make the same mistake we did with his teammate and nearly take him out on our rejoin. But we've successfully defended that position for now. Now it's our turn to come into the pits. We're going to get it slowed down nicely to the 80 k's an hour, and it is time for us to slide on to the hard tyres. So this should hopefully be our one and only pit stop for this Grand Prix. It's an optimal turn in, so now it's down to the boys and girls in the pit lane. We're also going to be changing the front wing, as through some of the battling we've gained a little bit of damage, and since I'm down here, might as well get it changed anyway and save ourselves a little bit of pain from later. So now we're going to be rejoining plumb last, absolutely last. So got ourselves some work to do if we want to try and get ourselves anywhere close to the points. At the moment, based off our race pace, I am not looking forward seeing if we're going to get ourselves into the points. As now this is going to be Ocon going around the outside of Felipe Drugovich, the 2 Williams yet to pit in this Grand Prix. So Ocon has actually pit, so he's trying to make his way through the field. As now the leader, Oscar Piastri, he's in the lane. Looks like a very clean stop, so he should retain the lead once the 2 Red Bulls have come into the pits here. And now this is Pierre Gasly making his move on the Williams of Ayumu Iwasa. That gets him up into P7 now, as there's Charles Leclerc, who has already made his pit stop, looking very dangerous there in P9. Could he possibly maybe try and get a double overtake? But it looks like it's actually going to be Iwasa who's going to try and get the move redone on Pierre Gasly. Is he going to be able to get the move done? Yes, he is, and it looks like Charles Leclerc's going to be trying to go with him. But is Charles Leclerc actually going to get a double overtake done? He is going to go around the outside of Ayumu Iwasa, and it looks like he is going to get this double overtake done. So that is Pierre Gasly down 2 positions, Iwasa up 1, Charles Leclerc up 2. Yeah, so absolute brilliant piece of driving there from Charles Leclerc, and it looks like Pierre Gasly is immediately going to be trying to get himself back past Iwasa here to try and ensure that he doesn't get stuck behind someone who hasn't yet made their pit stop. So Gasly still doing a really good job in that Alpine to make sure that he's been staying inside the top 10 pretty much all race long. As now back to our POV here, we've got George Russell on a set of soft tyres. Very interesting strategy here from the Mercedes crew, getting past us quite easily. I'm not going to battle him here because I'm on the hard, he's on the soft, so really no point for us to battle him. So we've just let him go. He's not in our race, so we'll have to wait and see how George Russell goes in this Grand Prix. And now Lando Norris, in a very unconventional way, is going around the outside of Iwasa to get himself now up into P8. So the two Williams just falling down the field now, as one of them has made their pit stop, the other one yet to make their pit stop. And this is now Carlos Sainz now making his way past Iwasa there, so Iwasa surely has to be coming into the pits very soon, as now this is going to be Alex Albon getting himself back onto the podium by getting himself past Esteban Ocon. So Albon back onto the podium. Very good to see at least one of our cars doing pretty well this race, and now Pierre Gasly gets himself past Charles Leclerc, so that double overtake didn't last very long, and Leclerc's now being overtaken as well by Lando Norris. Is Norris going to be able to make this move stick as well? It looks like he's going to send it back down the inside at turn 2. They're still side by side as they go into the DRS zone. Is there going to be another overtaking opportunity here for Lando Norris? They continue to go side by side, but here comes the other Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. He's looking very dangerous here, just sitting behind them as they continue to go side by side, but it is going to be Lando Norris who gets the position ahead of Charles Leclerc. As now Max Verstappen is looking to get himself past Ocon as well. So Ocon's had pace very early on in this stint on these hard tyres, but it looks like he's fading pretty quickly as now Verstappen is get past him. Verstappen looks like he's on a charge, and he is on a soft tyre. So another very interesting strategy call here from one of the leading teams as Carlos Sainz getting himself past Charles Leclerc as well. So the Ferraris are swap positions here in Azerbaijan as now Nico Hulkenberg is looking like he is wanting to get himself past Charles Leclerc. So Leclerc's fading really quickly in this Grand Prix because now it's the Aston Martin of Hulkenberg getting himself past, and Yuki Tsunoda's not too far behind as well. Is Yuki Tsunoda going to get himself possibly some points here for AlphaTauri? There will be an absolute mega job. And speaking of, here he is with the DRS, which has now just been activated. He's going to breeze past the Ferrari, and that's got himself now into P9 as that was... I reckon Dragovic would have been the one who was recently pit to get himself now up into the points. So it looks like Tsunoda could be on here for some points in the AlphaTauri, which is going to be an absolute mega job. And now here with Yuki Tsunoda, once again, it looks like he's about to be overtaken by Valtteri Bottas. So he's going to still be in the points. He's still sitting P10, but that is now two Alpines. So Bottas actually locks up. Could Yuki Tsunoda make something of this? Doesn't look like he is going to be able to. As now we jump on board with ourselves. We're now caught up to the back of Dragovic, and he is defending with all of his might to try and make sure he keeps his P16. But I really want to just... I'm not going to be able to get points. There's only 2 laps left in this Grand Prix, but I just want to be able to try and get myself as high up the order as I can after being stitched up on lap 1, needless to say. Now, we're going to pull alongside him with the power of DRS. We're just going to breeze past him. And now, in the bottom corner, that is a battle there between Yuki Tsunoda, and it looks like it is also between Logan Sargent. So they're battling it out for the currently the last points in this Grand Prix, but it's going to be Sargent at the moment who's got the better of him, as now Oscar Piastri has driven a perfect race, put not a single thing wrong, and he's going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We're going to have DRS here. Are we going to be able to sneak past Leclerc as well and possibly get P15 off him? Yes, we can. Right at the line, we get P15 off Charles Leclerc.
What a fantastic Grand Prix that was, and an excellent win for McLaren. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm very happy to see them there on that top step of the podium.
And there we have it. That was Oscar Piastri's 3rd career win here in Azerbaijan, so proving to be a little bit of a good hunting ground for him. Alex Albon unfortunately didn't manage to keep the podium there. He got pipped by Max Verstappen right at the line, so pretty unfortunate there. And in the end, though, we had an alright recovery as now we take ourselves down through the order: Alex Albon P4, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly 5 and 6, Lando Norris, Nico Hulkenberg, Valtteri Bottas, and Logan Sargent managed to keep the final points paying position there. And unfortunately for ourselves, again, our race was over by lap 1 in the end, so P15 is all I can manage. And as we now take a look at the driver's standings, Sergio Perez leads it by 5 points over myself and Lando Norris, who are tied in second place, and Alex Albon with that point, so for now finds himself 11th in the Drivers' Championship. As now we head over to the Constructors' standings, it's Red Bull leading the way by 13 points over McLaren Ferrari. They find themselves third. They're 43 points off the lead, and ourselves, Brabham, we're P4, 46 points off the lead of the Constructors. As now we head straight back to the HQ, and we've got a Q&A, so how fun is this going to be? So as we wait for the first question to load up here, it's going to be a pretty easy question here, asking us which livery we reckon is the best. Of course, we're going to say it's going to be our own livery that we reckon is the best, and absolutely is. As now, we have to just make sure we think correctly about this question. This could have pretty big impacts here. Yeah, so I reckon we're going to have to stick with the aero here. That has been something we've been working a lot on. Previous times we've always said we've been cautious. As now we go into doing some upgrades here for the chassis. It's going to be, we're upgrading the width of the brake discs, which hopefully can improve our braking stability here in this series. And so now that is going to be all for this episode. So if you did enjoy it, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at a pretty happy hunting ground for ourselves. We're returning to Monaco, so I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. See ya.